Hi everyone. So in this video what we will learn is we will create a SNS and we will use a Lambda function to trigger a message into that SNS, right? So what we will do, we will create a SNS, create a subscription for that SNS, and for demo purpose that subscription will be an email subscription, right? And from our Lambda function, of course that subscription will have message attributes like kind of filters. So we will use the same filter to trigger the SNS from our Lambda function, and the message will go to our email ID, right? So this is the flow that we will see today. So the first thing that we have to do is of course create an SNS. So you have to come to this SNS page, right? So you can search SNS like this. So you can come to this SNS page, right? From here what we will do is we have two options, first in first out topic and standard topic. So we will go with standard topic, right? And we will give it a name. I'll give it a name YT SNS demo, right? And any display name of your choice. So I'll keep the same name, SNS demo, right? And what I will do is I will create a topic, right? Once this topic is created, what I will do is I will create a subscription. So for this demo, what I will do is I will create an email subscription, right? So what this will do is if anything happens to this SNS, any message comes to this SNS, it will trigger an email, right? And what will be this email endpoint, right? So for this email endpoint I will say code with right. So for this I will give one email address. Make sure that this is a valid email address, right? Because this will ask for a confirmation, right? Then what I can do is okay, so what we can do is we can create a filter policy, right? So there might be many messages that will come to this SNS, but only few filter properties I want to send it to my email, right? So what I can do is it can be any key value pair. So what I can do is I will say source, just an example, okay, and any source that has S1, right? S1 will come to this email address. This SNS trigger will happen to this email address for this filter pattern, right? So what I will do is I will create a subscription, right? Subscription is created. Now I'll go back to topics, right? I'll come to YTSNS demo. Here if you see we have created one subscription, but the state is pending, right? So what has happened is it has sent a confirmation to my email address, right? So if you see, this is the topic name that I selected, right? Here if I click on this will do confirm, right? Once confirmation is done, I will come back here. I can try a refresh, so it should pick up that this is confirmed, right? So now it says confirmed, right? If I go inside this is the subscription filter, right? So I'll come back. Okay, so SNS part is done. Now what I will do is I will come to my Lambda function. So what I have done is I have created a Lambda function, right? And nothing is there, just the out of the box template that is given by AWS. The first thing that we need to do is work on the permission, right? So permission, this is the default permission that AWS creates. So what we have to do is in this permission, currently it has only CloudWatch permission. What we have to do is attach SNS permission, right? So if you see this one, if you see this JSON, right? So all it has is CloudWatch create log groups, right? Now what we will do is we will attach a policy. We will search for SNS, right? Amazon SNS full access, right? So we will attach this policy, right? Then we will come here, we will come to our code and we will start writing some code. so that we can trigger a message to our SNS, and from that SNS it will come to our email address, right? So I'll close this one and I'll close this tab and I'll come here to my home page, the main email page. Right now what I will do is I will start by importing AWS SDK. So what I can do is const AWS equals to require, right, and AWS SDK, right. I will not touch this function now. What I will do is I will create a helper function. So what this helper function will do is this helper function will actually do the publish. So what I can do is I will name this as const, right, publish to SNS, right, equals to, of course this will be an async function, and this guy will take one message, right, what message you want to trigger, right, and we will have the function body, right. So first thing that we need to do is create a SNS object. So const SNS equals to new AWS dot SNS, right. Then we will create the parameter object. So I will say const params equals to, right. So the first property that will go is the message, right. Message will be, we will send it as a string. So json dot stringify of what we will do message, right, the parameter message that we have received. Next thing is topic ARN, right. So what is this topic ARN? So if you come to your SNS, right, this is the SNS and this is its ARN, and I will do is I will copy this one, right, and I will paste it here, right. So to this topic this message will be published, right. Then what I can do is I can give a subject, right. Subject will be, we will give a simple SNS test from Lambda, right. Then what we can do is message attribute, right. Here message attribute will be whatever message we have sent here, right, this source that we will be using. So what we can do is we will say source, right, and what we can do is make an object out of this, and what will be the first parameter, right. First parameter is data type, which is string, right, and then string value will be s1, right, s1. Why s1? Because if you see this source is s1 as a string, so this source we are saying s1 as string, right. So this is the parameter object, right. Then what we can do is we will create a new promise. So return new promise, right. What this promise will do is it will take a function, right, and this function, what this will do, this will take two parameters called resolve and reject. So if everything goes proper, we will call the method resolve. If exception happens, what we will do is we will reject it, right. So what I can do is I can bring this SNS object inside this promise, right. Then what I can do is SNS dot publish, right. I will publish with this params object and a callback function, right. So this is the callback function. This callback function will have two objects, one is error, one is data. So error object will be empty and data will have the value if everything goes right. if some exception happens, then your data will be null and your error parameter will have some value, right? So what I can do is I can check if error, right? What I can do is I can reject with the error, right? And if I get to this else part, that means there is no error, right? What I can do is resolve, and I will pass this data, right? So this much only I have to do, right? And I will put a semicolon here, right? So this part is done. Now what we can do is we'll start writing our main handler, right? So I'll remove all of this because not required. I will add a try catch block, right? So on the catch block, what I can do is I can do a console.error, right? Whatever is our error object. So this error object will come from our reject method. So whatever we pass to this reject, right, that will come inside this try catch, this catch block, right? And inside this try block, what I can do is I can say const result equals to await, right? Await, because we have created this as an async function. Await, right? And await what? We will await to publish to SNS, right? Publish to SNS, right? And what I can say is this is a test message, right? Now I will deploy, and we will see what happens. So we'll configure a test event, right? Test, because anyways we are not going to use these parameters, so all we'll do is create, then we will run the test. So now if you see this one, YTSNS demo, one message has come. This is a test message, right? So what I can do is I can add another message. This is a test message second time, and this time what I can do is just do a console.log of result. I missed that in the first one, so we will see what is the result object, right? So we will say deploy, right? And I will come back to my main page, right? Then what I will do is I will click on test, right? So I get some info. So this is the response metadata, and this is the message ID. This is the input, that result that I get from the SNS publish method, right? And we will wait for some time so that we'll so we get this message, right? So this one, it has come as a reply. So second time, right, we get this message. So this is how you create a function, Lambda function, that sends message to your SNS, and from that SNS you have to add your filter parameters, so that based on different filter parameters, different subscriptions source can be created, and from there you can send the message to different source. So if you see create subscription, we have more options, like we can send it to SQS, we can again send it to another Lambda function, right? We can send it as a HTTP request, right? We can send it as an SMS. So we have quite a option to create, we have quite a lot of options to create this subscription. So I have demoed it with email. So you trigger a message and ultimately an email will come to you. So that is the workflow.